As tensions between the United States and China continue to escalate, the political landscape is taking shape under the renewed leadership of President Donald Trump. His administration's approach to foreign relations, particularly with China, is rooted in a brand of Americanism that prioritizes national sovereignty and economic interests. This stance may have significant implications for the future of U.S.-China relations, impacting everything from trade to security and diplomatic ties. In his inaugural address, Trump emphasized a commitment to American sovereignty and security, declaring that addressing perceived threats from China, such as the popular social media app TikTok, was paramount. The administration's foreign policy reflects a duality. While Trump has lauded Chinese President Xi Jinping as a good friend, he simultaneously regards China as a national security threat. This contradiction underscores a broader ideological clash, Americanism versus China's anti-Americanism, that is likely to shape the dynamics of their bilateral relationship in the coming years. A significant development came on January 17 when President Xi Jinping congratulated Trump on his re-election during a phone call. Xi expressed a desire for constructive Sino-US relations, emphasizing mutual respect and cooperation. He urged Trump to approach sensitive issues like Taiwan with caution, highlighting China's sovereignty concerns. These discussions illustrate the balancing act both leaders must navigate: Trump's America First agenda against Xi's vision for China as a global power. Despite the conciliatory overtures, the Trump administration is populated with hawkish figures such as Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who have consistently framed China as a direct threat to U.S. interests. Rubio has called for a relationship that advances American interests, while Hegseth has warned of China's ambitions for global dominance. These sentiments suggest that U.S.-China relations will be characterized by tension and fluctuating dynamics driven by contrasting national priorities. Adding complexity to this geopolitical landscape is the role of influential business leaders like Elon Musk, whose company Tesla has significant operations in China. Musk's perceived friendship with Chinese officials presents a counterbalance to the hawkish rhetoric from Trump's advisors, potentially offering a pathway for easing tensions through economic collaboration. However, as Trump's administration moves forward, it is apparent that the rhetoric surrounding trade will remain contentious. During his campaign, Trump proposed steep tariffs on Chinese goods, reflecting a broader narrative that attributes job losses and economic challenges in America to China. He has also framed the Panama Canal as a symbol of Chinese control, a claim that has drawn skepticism and criticism from various quarters. Such statements only serve to deepen misunderstandings and mistrust between the two nations, complicating efforts to build constructive dialogue. On the energy front, analysts predict that China's oil demand may soon reach its peak as the government pushes for reduced reliance on imports, primarily driven by energy security concerns rather than environmental considerations. This shift marks a significant transition for the world's second-largest economy and could have far-reaching implications for global oil markets and geopolitical alliances. Moreover, the Taiwan issue remains a critical point of contention. Both Xi and Wang Yi, China's foreign minister, have reiterated China's position that Taiwan is an inalienable part of its territory. This sentiment is echoed in the new U.S. administration's approach, which, while stating that it does not support Taiwanese independence, continues to engage in arms sales to Taipei. The balancing act surrounding Taiwan will be crucial in determining the trajectory of U.S.-China relations, as any missteps could lead to heightened tensions. As we look ahead, the ideological clash between Americanism and anti-Americanism is poised to create a challenging environment for diplomacy. Trump's focus on an America First policy, combined with the hawkish outlook of his administration, suggests that U.S.-China relations will be fraught with difficulties. Key issues like trade, national security, and Taiwan will remain contentious, requiring careful navigation to avoid escalation into conflict. In conclusion, the future of U.S.-China relations under Trump's administration appears fraught with tension and uncertainty. As both nations grapple with their competing interests, the potential for misunderstandings looms large. It will be imperative for both sides to find common ground and engage in constructive dialogue to manage their differences. Without a concerted effort to address these challenges, the relationship is likely to remain rocky, underscoring the need for strategic diplomacy in an increasingly polarized world. In a recent gathering at the Chinese Embassy in Washington, D.C., Ambassador Xie Feng delivered remarks that underscore the evolving landscape of China-US relations. As the two nations navigate a complex relationship marked by both cooperation and contention, the ambassador's comments signal a desire for constructive dialogue and mutual understanding amidst significant geopolitical shifts. The event, held on January 24, 2025, coincided with the Lunar New Year celebrations and the arrival of two giant pandas at the National Zoo, highlighting cultural ties that continue to foster goodwill between the two countries. As ancient Chinese philosopher Mencius said, "It is much more joyful to share happiness than enjoy it alone," Ambassador Xie noted, emphasizing the importance of unity and collaboration during this festive season. Ambassador Xie celebrated three key milestones: the recognition of the Spring Festival as a UNESCO intangible cultural heritage, the debut of the new panda pair, and a renewed commitment to enhancing China-US relations. He expressed optimism about the future, stating that the recent phone call between President Xi Jinping and President Donald Trump marked a significant step toward stabilizing and developing bilateral ties. This dialogue, according to Xie, lays the foundation for a smooth path forward and reflects a mutual interest in maintaining a stable international order. The ambassador pointed to the broader context of China's economic recovery, noting a 5% year-on-year GDP growth and a commitment to reform and opening up. He asserted that the common values of humanity and cooperation are more important than ever in a world fraught with challenges. Today, the China-US relationship holds global significance like never before, he asserted, urging both nations to work together for peace and stability. However, the path ahead is fraught with challenges, particularly concerning the Taiwan issue, which Xie identified as a potential flashpoint. He reiterated the importance of adhering to the One China principle and respecting each other's core interests to avoid unnecessary conflict. "Our bilateral economic ties are essentially mutually beneficial and win-win," he emphasized, cautioning against tariffs and trade wars that offer no winners. The ambassador's sentiments were echoed by Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon, who during an interview at the World Economic Forum in Davos expressed the critical need for improved ties between the US and China. He acknowledged that while trade agreements require careful rebalancing, the focus should be on constructive engagement rather than confrontation. Solomon's comments come at a time when tensions have been reignited by tariff threats and trade restrictions. As discussions around economic cooperation continue, there are signs of potential thawing. Recent data shows that two-way trade between the US and China grew by 3.7% last year, indicating a resilience in their economic relationship despite political tensions. This is further supported by the participation of US businesses in trade expos in China, highlighting a mutual desire for engagement. The ambassador's articulation of a vision for a collaborative future resonates with a growing sentiment among business leaders and policymakers alike. The message is clear: both nations must prioritize dialogue and cooperation to navigate their complex relationship and address shared global challenges. As stated by Ambassador Xie, with mutual respect, open mind, and goodwill, our people have gone beyond geographical divides and differences in language and culture. As the Year of the Snake approaches, symbolizing renewal and wisdom, there is hope that both nations can embark on a new journey together. The call for a more fruitful and sustainable relationship is not just hopeful rhetoric, it reflects an urgent necessity in an increasingly interconnected world. The coming months will be crucial as both countries work to translate these aspirations into concrete actions, potentially setting the stage for a more stable and prosperous future for both nations and the world at large. In a world increasingly defined by geopolitical tensions and nationalistic ideologies, the foreign policy landscape is rapidly shifting, particularly in the context of US-China relations. As Donald Trump assumes the presidency once more, his administration's approach, marked by an assertive Americanism, is poised to challenge established diplomatic norms and redefine alliances, especially regarding Taiwan and trade dynamics. Trump's inaugural address underscored a profound commitment to American sovereignty and national security, elements that have long characterized his political persona. This rhetoric not only signals a continuation of his previous administration's policies but also sets the stage for increased friction with China. Central to this ideology is the perception that China threatens U.S. interests, evidenced by Trump's portrayal of TikTok as a national security risk and his proposal to impose significant tariffs on Chinese goods. Such measures aim to rectify what he perceives as a trade imbalance while simultaneously framing China as a competitor, if not an adversary. The complexities of U.S.-China relations were further illustrated during a pivotal phone call between Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping on January 17. Xi expressed hopes for a constructive relationship emphasizing mutual respect and cooperation. However, this diplomatic overture is juxtaposed against Trump's hawkish rhetoric, particularly regarding Taiwan, which remains a flashpoint in U.S.-China relations. The tension surrounding Taiwan is palpable, with Xi reiterating that any U.S. support for Taiwan's independence would be met with staunch opposition. Adding to the intricacies of this diplomatic dance is the appointment of Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. Known for his tough stance on China, Rubio's recent discussions with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi reflected the administration's resolve to prioritize U.S. interests. His assertion that the U.S. would not support Taiwan independence while simultaneously expressing concerns over China's actions in the region highlights the delicate balance the administration seeks to maintain. As the U.S. navigates this complex terrain, China's military advancements, exemplified by the launch of the Type 054B stealth frigate, signal a growing capability to project power in the Indo-Pacific region. Military analysts suggest that such developments could alter the balance of power, particularly in scenarios involving Taiwan. The Luoha frigate is described as a critical asset for extended naval operations, enhancing China's ability to escort carrier strike groups while deterring potential U.S. intervention. Moreover, the geopolitical implications of climate change cannot be overlooked. With diminishing ice caps opening new maritime routes, Greenland has emerged as a strategic focal point. EU Military Chief General Robert Breger's recent call for European troop presence in Greenland underscores the territory's significance amid rising tensions with both Russia and China. This development reflects a broader trend of militarization in regions previously considered peripheral to major geopolitical conflicts. As the Trump administration reaffirms its America First stance, the clash between Americanism and the entrenched anti-Americanism prevalent in China and Russia becomes increasingly evident. This ideological divide complicates diplomatic efforts and raises the specter of confrontation, especially concerning Taiwan and territorial disputes in the South China Sea. The road ahead for U.S.-China relations appears fraught with challenges. Trump's administration is likely to adopt a confrontational posture driven by a belief in American exceptionalism and the need to safeguard U.S. interests. However, the potential for miscommunication and escalation remains high, particularly as both sides navigate an increasingly polarized environment. Looking forward, the success of U.S.-China relations hinges on the ability of both nations to engage in constructive dialogue while managing their respective nationalistic impulses. As tensions rise, the need for diplomatic engagement becomes ever more critical to prevent conflict and foster a more stable global landscape. The coming months will be pivotal in determining whether cooperation can prevail over confrontation or if the forces of Americanism and anti-Americanism will chart a more turbulent course for international relations.